Hello, everybody. Welcome to another World of Sasquatch. Today's show is being recorded on 9/14/25. This is more of an impromptu one, folks, but before we get to anything, I now open this circle to true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, Joanna?
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, to let healing energies in. Let them love you, let them nourish you, and let them bring you to your highest good. We pray for ourselves, our friends, our family, our loved ones, to also let healing energies in. Let them love us and nourish us and bring us to our highest good. We ask for benevolence to come in now with no conflicting agenda so that we may have this conversation in great understanding. And we wish for malevolent and mischievous type beings to be swept away so that we may have this conversation in peace. And with that, and with great blessings that we always send your way, we say so be it.
And so be it. This is actually quite interesting. This has to do with a Sasquatch group that we encountered in Japan when we were there. There was a being by the name of Len that came through. Then you might remember that from back in that time frame when we were on our way to Fukushima at the time to do that talk. And there was this van ride that we took all the way from where we were staying out there, and we were in this van together. And Joanna notices a forest person outside the right-hand back window, climbing up in the hills or in this rocky place there. And there was a Japanese boy there that was basically saying, "Hairy man," while we were there. And I thought that was actually quite interesting. And then he channeled later on. I don't have that channel available anymore, but this particular forest person, we were doing a show this morning with Julia Ankerhaven and David Purcell as of this morning. And Len actually came through to David, and then he popped up over here. So he was making a comment on how he loved the Japanese baths and stuff to David. So I thought that was actually quite fascinating that he popped up after all this time. Probably knowing that some of the energies had settled down, now it's good time the timeline's changed, it's good time to make contact. So it's definitely Len. So people remember when we were talking about it then. So, and no, Isaac, I did not rhyme on purpose. Okay, so, okay, we'll just go straight to it unless you want to add anything to it.
No, really curious to get an update of what's going on.
Okay. Okay, true benevolent Len, the forest person. True benevolence. No conflicting agendas. Yes, it has actually been a while. Yes, I am Len. You did see me in the hills outside of Fukushima that day. I did speak to you a little bit then, but there was a lot of interference that took place in that time, and subsequently over the years after, during your COVID times and such. So my tribe actually laid low in the hills for quite some time. We noticed that you've created the world of Sasquatch. This was actually new, even though you had a version of it then. It's actually been more pronounced now. And so this is also not only the reason we came through, but we were seeing that you were more communicative again. So we, along with the other forest people's suggestion, have made ourselves known once again. And this is actually very pleasing to us because our tribe there in that part of Japan, this is going into Fukushima province, up in the hills there. We generally would stay to ourselves, but we also noticed that the moot wishes to communicate with humanity once again. So we have taken this opportunity in this safe space to conduct communications. As of this time, an update here would be energetic update. I am transmitting from a wooded and rocky area of Fukushima province. It is starting to become slightly populated again, but it is still, people have a slight U factor to the area. It is actually being cleaned up more and more. But since you left Japan, of course, you had the tumultuous time of COVID, but there really wasn't a humongous impact on the island country of Japan from that. There was like a very little change. They'd already been doing the masks, they'd already been doing certain practices and certain things, and just kind of life moved on. They isolated themselves from the rest of the world, and then now they've reopened again to tourism. And this was actually more recent than you may think in the past couple of years. They want tourism again. So, and the world has kind of demanded it. So, the energies there are the highest they've ever been in quite some time, or faster moving, you would say. During the fear time, it was put to the test during the COVID time, but this this is actually turning out to be a good thing. All the elementals are kind of reawakening again. The cherry blossoms bloomed and come and gone again and again. And it is actually quite pleasant now. So, questions?
So you said the allowance of visitors to come back in is really more recent. Has it been really slow going getting visitors to come back?
Yes, some people are reluctant to travel, especially again in some areas, like in Europe, especially what has been going on there. People are starting to become reluctant again because of not only your Russia-Ukraine issue, but your issues with England and parts of the British Isles as well. People are reluctant to travel. Some are scared to travel, but here they don't have that kind of let's just say horn ramming. So it's fairly peaceful here, except in some isolated like areas, or so I shouldn't say isolated areas, some areas of Tokyo. Of course, there's criminals. Of course, there's despondent people. You know, you get that everywhere. But people were more reluctant to travel with that. But to Japan, it's actually upped a bit coming here.
Well, that's good. And then how do you feel that you all, if you participated in it, or maybe you're just starting now, so you can tell me, with human contact, how is that going?
We are extremely selective about who we speak to over here, but we have spoken to people that have been very open. The frequency of that has gone up as well. People wanting to talk to forest people. They have a different name for us over here. You wouldn't be able to enunciate it completely, but it roughly translates to basically forest person. They have a different way of saying it, though. It doesn't translate back to English quite the same. But this is essentially our relationship with people. People sometimes will come talk to us. Unfortunately, some of the tourists are more fascinated with the suicide forest. And you have some creepiness surrounding that, not just in it, but people that are fascinated with death. We do not approve of this. That's more draconian territory. They're fascinated with death and dying and rot and all of that, and we are not. I understate this quite heavily. Some of your tourists, especially, I hate to bash the United States, but it's mostly Americans that have done this, and British, and some Canadian that are there to do content on the suicide forest. We would rather they did not. They're giving publicity to something that is considered to be more of a hollowed space, though dark and evil. But aside from that, there are others that come here to see the temples and come here to speak to ourselves. And also, even if they're speaking to nature, we're there responding as well. And there are also elementals. Your Nico temple elementals send their regards. They returned to the temple because of the tumultuous tumultuous energies that were occurring and the targetings that were occurring in Arizona. No offense to yourself or nothing personal to yourselves. They returned they returned it to Nico Temple, of where they still are. So they send their regards as well.
And that's quite understandable. So, and so we send our regards back, but I certainly can understand that.
They will know this, yes.
Yes. So tell me again, the interesting thing, unfortunate thing that happened when Fukushima occurred. You have Fukushima, the city spot where it happened, and then you got the province of Fukushima. And unfortunately, because the province was the same name as the city, the whole area, the whole place basically was basically isolated, and people retracted from the entire area.
Yeah,
because
the U factor.
Yes, that U factor. So what I'm curious about, number one, since even we were there, because we were telling people, well, we would recommend a lot of shungite and different things to fight off the, some of the energies, what I mean, that were going on from just what occurred. But tell me overall, in general, how are the energies of the land?
The energies of the land are doing better than they have in years since the disaster. You see, there's still some radioactivity, of course, but there also are tribes there that you've dealt with, some mer tribes that are actually assisting with this as well. Granted, they will talk big and say, "Oh, we're tired of humans doing this," but they know there was external forces responsible for some of this. The earthquake that hit was an underground battle, and they know this. With that said, the energies are actually better than they have been since you were last present.
That's good to hear, really good to hear. And are more people now working and deciding to either move to or be a part of the whole province? Are people going in now?
Yes, they are, but not as quickly as we would like, because they're still afraid of something possibly happening again. It's in their psyche or in their subconscious. So there's also a bit of superstition that has played around Fukushima province since the last time. It's like what you saw on your Y-Files last night. I was actually around when they said the CIA played a vampire op.
Right.
This was essentially what kind of went on with that. There was a group that did not want people to flourish, so they basically said that the area was haunted and was full of demons and such. That's actually hard for them to get over that. That AJ person said. That even some of the allies of the United States were spooked by what they had done in the other instances with the creepy voices and sounds and everything. You're dealing with a culture that the roots run deep of both elemental magic, Shintoism, and also old gods, as well as superstition as well. So this was used against them by groups very not unlike your Kabbalist sects. And your CIA that would pull things like this. This did indeed happen. And your three-letter agencies, unfortunately, were involved in some of the destabilization as well. Did they plan some of that original earthquake? He's asking this in his head. Yes and no. It was actually more of a... they thought they were fully involved. But there's other ET and Agartha-type factions involved as well.
So usually when we hear that kind of things happening, it's usually some sort of land grab or mineral grab or something going on. So what was there, or is there something in the Fukushima province that somebody else is wanting to occur?
Yes. In the hills and the valleys of it, yes, that it is rich in certain minerals and such. Yes, your government is quite interested. They simulated an earthquake to drive everybody out, and they've subsequently only mined very little. In fact, because some of the beings in the area did not want this to happen. Your CIA and them thought they fully did this, but it was actually some underground warfare that was around there as well that caused some of this. But the what's the term? Do weaponry or where focused microwaves destabilized the tectonic plates, and then subsequently made it so that it was nuclear irradiated. They knew that some of the elemental species would be spooked by nuclear radiation. They did not give a shit, basically. They went to the other side of the province to mine up in the mountains. And within those mountains are rich minerals such as gold and other things like gemstones. And also within that, there deep further down, there's elements like cobalt and lithium as well. So that was in much richer deposits than in your Asheville, North Carolina. That was the reason for Helene and Milton going through there, I believe. It was done in Japan as well. This has not been spoken about because the information has not necessarily completely been discovered. But look for these mysterious things that happen across the globe. You will find some of your three-letter agencies and also underground warring going on at the same time, like your government agencies war against the Myrmidon on your East Coast.
Good. Yeah, people watch out for that. But I'm glad to hear that the Japanese people as a whole have fared really kind of well. They just kind of were able as an island to isolate themselves and deal with it there. I thought the people, Chris and I have such fond memories being around people and their spiritualness towards life in general, of having a spiritual purpose of what they're doing and finding a connection of how it's good for themselves and good for the whole. It's a beautiful thing if you ever get a chance to actually spend time with, not just as a tourist, but if you ever get to be able to spend some time with those that locally live there and are able to see some of this. It really is a beautiful thing. And as we've said, and we believe the cherry blossoms, when they bloom and they spread their petals, it's higher level energy. So you're just, again, spreading higher level energy, all throughout those islands. And I'm really glad to hear that things are going well in that sense.
Yes, and more people will start to discover these ops that are going on. But it left its lasting mark, unfortunately, on the people.
Right.
And subsequent next generation of people. Hence was the idea. But it is actually, you can say, is ironing itself out. If it is left alone, it irons itself out.
Really, that's nice. So, my question then had to do with, from your perspective, since you brought up the younger generations, what do you feel about the younger generations of the Japanese people? And again, as I'm saying, that spiritual side, is it still there? I mean, you worry when you see the younger generations, like in our countries and others, you worry that some of that has been lost. It's completely out of balance. How are the younger generations of the Japanese people doing?
Some more into your modern technological, others into ancient ways. It's the same as with your country. But yeah, more in your country, there is a division in this area. People think that it is global when in fact it's sporadic. In Japan, it's kind of the same, where you have those into technology, not into history, and those that are into history, not in technology, and those that are in between. It is essentially, as the young people stand right now, they're actually slightly more rebellious against the emperorship in this way. Not necessarily in a warlike way. It is more like, that's old. But then some of them respect it, like in England, and then some are against it, like in England. So it's the same, like you have those that are for and against the government here. But the percentages of the young people are actually beginning to come around more and actually wanting to learn some of the more ancient methods and ways there.
Well, that's pretty interesting. And then tell me about your youth, because as you've heard over the years that we've spoken to some other members of the forest people, where the youth and you guys are subjected to some of these same energies, of course, that we're subjected to. And there's been a struggle sometimes with your own youth, trying to keep them protected from some of this diversional type energy. So how is it going on with your groups?
Yes, it's actually going quite well. We do get targeted from time to time. Yes, a few of our elder Anakim did suffer because of back in your during your 2020 and such, and also some of the young people were more controlled. You ran into one back in your Arizona. He nicknamed JoJo. I see in his head, and your Fuma of them took care of this. And Levick took care of this, the one from England. So yes, the young people, yes, they'll be young people like with yourselves, but they are starting to be able to be taught some of the older ways. They're actually starting to respect this again. There are some like the one that he spotted wearing the red hat and smoking cigarettes that time, where he accused the forced person of jackrolling a homeless person. That unfortunately does happen. And it happens like with our people are just like your own. We're the same. So some of the young people have gone that route and have become more, you don't want to say Americanized, that's the wrong word, but more deacclimated from ancient ways. But the majority are actually going back to figuring things out in the ancient area through telepathy and through teaching. Yes.
Okay, and so tell me, if there are people that are in Japan that actually hear this and would like to be able to make some type of spiritual connection with you guys, would there be any recommendations?
Yes. Learn how to respect nature, for one. And a big part of that, don't go to the suicide forest. That carries draconian energy with it. You will be the furthest from us if you go there. That is, even though that's a forest, we're forest people, we're not there. That's an old Draco nesting ground right there from the Lemurian period, very much like your Superstition Mountains well, they were a part of Lemuria, but then Draco went in there. It's the same as with the Suicide Forest. It's the same difference. If you want to contact us, you must be in more of a heart space oriented place, not in a fame oriented space. Of course, you're going to get merch fame, all this other stuff as a result thereof. We see you're in the right heart space and you're making merch and such like you guys do according to that premise and according to contact, then of course we will interact. But if it's solely for the fame of it, of course we will not. At least the Japanese group of ours is quite stringent on this. My group is. It's more of like like you heard that time. If you're creating something without substance, you have no honor. This is essentially where we are. We're basically of the Japanese culture. We do have a bit of Untumban in us as well, so we follow that kind of honor coding or the Bushido type of coding. The same with the Untumbans who send their regards as well. They are quite busy with certain tasks globally at the moment. They're not just in Japan. They're helping out with certain respects as well of what's going on now. But they're helping others in other countries as well. They've been asked to assist. Especially like in your England, some of your Mozen have, you call them, have requested assistance from them there with some wizardry and magic and whatnot, since they're experts in magic and sword and sorcery. Just like people would hire Vikings because they were good warriors to guard caravans and such, the Tumbans are good in both magic and sword, and armor. So they were asked also geometric magic, like your Nabe no Seme with the line magic in Kyoto. It's the same difference. But they have a lot of them have that skill, some more than others, and they're even requesting his assistance as well with this. So he's a bit busier. He probably would have spoken as well. But in any respect, everything is picking up. But also to contact us, heart space first. And I'm always calm, as was said, and also the race for fame must be tempered with that of both first heart space first, then fame second.
Thank you. And then I have to ask you, because a lot of things have changed for the forest people in general, especially out there now in the Galactics to get representation at the Galactic Senate.
Mm-hmm.
So what does your group think about that?
Fu and Seymour can have that one because yes, no, I am in favor of it, but the moot voted them in like a pope. They can have this. I do not want to set foot in the Galactic Senate. It is like they said, it's far too cold, even though Japanese winters are quite cold. This is a different type of cold, though, from what they describe. That flat floor and cold floor, that it changes color and temperature densities constantly and gravitational densities. It's quite unsettling as well. It's not just a cold, it's more of a creep factor. And it's just like, no, they can have this one, but it is also well deserved because they were the biggest advocates that got the mood to actually agree on something. All the members of the mood, even ones that disagreed with contact with humans, went, okay, we've had enough. So the moot spoke, the tribe has spoken, and hence now you have two popes in the Galactic Senate wearing actually creepy mitre hat looking things. And yeah, I've seen the outfits. No, we tend to walk around without clothes on unless we have to wear armor, and so now they're stuck wearing their school uniforms. So not the Harry Potter kind either. They're wearing the weird popish looking like garb. So they can have this one, but we're actually quite proud of them.
Good, I'm glad. And do you feel the agenda that they're working on? I'm assuming the Moot has all agreed to what they're working on.
Oh, of course, yes. Even though they're individuals that are apprehensive, that's where some of the old world fails because some were apprehensive about contact with humans, let alone other ETs that may or may not have been causing problems here. So that some of the forest people are kind of expected to move on even from the attack timeframes, and they are not in favor, just like you would not be in favor completely. You would want justice.
Right, and that's a big problem, of course, for humans and some of the different programs and different things that have happened. It's understandable. It's also unfortunate because it won't go down as strongly as people want it to. It's just not going to happen that way. So again, the forest people are facing those same types of understandings that humans are having to face for some of the unfortunate things that we have all been put through.
Yes.
And everyone's having to face that.
Yes, it's like that episode of Strange New Worlds you and him watched with the Klingon man that was responsible for massacring people during the war, but expected to be dealt with in peacetime. The doctor murders him in the end, or gaslights him. That's kind of like these mentality and sentiment you're kind of dealing with. Like, why do we have to bump shoulders with this? Why? And not with really horrible. I'm talking about some of the others that were indifferent.
Right.
And the evil ones, absolutely not. We are all saying no to that. It's just the indifferent ones that in the end they would just come waltz in here and go, it's pretty cool. Okay, I guess we're here. Yes. You didn't do anything.
Right.
So yes, those we don't like them. But at the same time, we're sitting at the same table with them. I do not begrudge Fuman Seymour one bit having to stare across the chasm at the princes of the universe. That's creepy in and of itself.
Right.
And we are very old adversaries. So with that said, I do not begrudge them, but eventually we all have to, humans also have to understand justice is not going to come on swift wings. It's going to come with a whisper.
Right. And
not a whimper, a whisper.
Right. When it's basically some of these things are undone, and untethers humanity and allows them to move forward.
Yes, your cultists are being dealt with swift access, though, because the drum heads, as you heard about, that is actually happening. So there are some things, even though people don't get to see them, he compares it to Worf accepting discommendation and still slapping Duras at the end of the episode. It's like you're the son of a traitor, and he did that in the background. This is the same thing. Some individuals get their justice and go and can do the "you are the son of a traitor" type thing. But not everybody's going to get that opportunity, unfortunately. Yes, you need closure. but just know the consecutive generation will be without that not necessarily that trauma. They'll understand things happen, but the human race moves on, and the world spins on, and the galaxy moves on. Then this issue of Earth not being included in the reindeer games, let's just say, will end.
So, and it's an important thing to say that we do have to raise our perception up, that it's not just about us individually. I mean, a lot of people have gone through holy hell. We know that, been there, know it. But then you have to raise yourself in a perspective of what needs to happen. Again, when you start thinking of children, grandchildren, descendants, how do you want this world to be? And also working at a bigger level to stop these things, not just look for justice for yourself, but to put energies forth into, stopping it as well and informing people. And that in its, again, you're dealing with people that are to the last breath. So stopping it is also justice, in a sense. So
It is.
it's hard to I know what I say sounds easy. I know how hard it is to swallow it.
It's not easy for our people as well. We've been oppressed subsequently at the hands of the Draco and them as well. We see their empire is completely fractured. So for a lot of us, that is good enough. That is you would say karma, but it is by their own undoing. So they are just basically scattered to the four winds of the galaxy. And for us, that's good enough, or at least some of the tribes anyway.
Right. Well, it's good enough in one sense if you think about your children and your grandchildren and different things not being put through it anymore, then you feel like that something has been accomplished through all the tragedy.
Yes, and you guys, humans and us, have been kind of trained to think of, okay, like here, especially in Japan, what happens in every story? Hero goes on a quest. Hero finds bad guy that hurt his family. Hero decapitates bad guy. This is exactly what everybody's trained with. Nothing wrong with this, as long as there's justice and not vengeance. But in this case, like I said, not on swift wings, but a whisper.
Right. So it's the long game.
Yes.
So people have to kind of open themselves up again to it's the long game. I often say we've reincarnated and reincarnated. I can't wait to reincarnate when this isn't here.
Mm-hmm.
And then that will feel like justice. The justice has been done at that moment in time. And so again, we're not saying being wimps. We're not saying being doormats. Do not be wimps or doormats. But we're talking again, you do stand up, you do say no, you do start seeing it without it and let it crumble as it needs to crumble so that it stops. And then, then you feel like, besides complaining about it, that you've actually done something to stop it. Lend your energies that way as well.
Yes.
So, well, this has been great. So I just I'm not sure if there's anything specific, since we haven't spoken in so long, that you want to share with everybody. I just open this discussion for you to say what you would like.
Yes, we actually welcome you back to Japan whenever you are able to come to our shores again. When things open up a little bit more in your department, yes, don't forget where you once were. And even if you show up as a tourist and not a business person, this would be just fine with us. Yes.
Well, thank you. And I have to tell you guys, it is a wondrous place. I mean, I can't recommend it enough. And again, make sure you do go off and see some of these unbelievable temples.
Yes.
Please do that. And, show your reverence and respect, of course, for it. And I agree. Anybody that has any sort of energy, spidey sense, let's say, I do not know why they would want to stand 1 foot near the one forest, because it wouldn't feel good. And don't be foolish enough to think that you are going to be able to just heal it yourself. Chris and I have run into that 10 years ago almost. We ran into the thoughts that we could do things like that. And it didn't quite work that way, because people's intentions and fantasies and darkness, because there are people there, keep drawing it back to the same areas.
No amount of shungite shall fix this. No,
not until people stop focusing on it and allow it to finally heal.
That's why your Gettysburg did not hold, because it's the same reason.
It's exactly
the land of death.
That's that's where we learned it. That's where we learned that lesson from. We felt that we had made a dent in it, and then it just came pouring on back because, again, that's what's happening. So
Mass torsion field.
right. So if you're going to Japan because you want to see the beautifulness and you want to see and experience some really nice things and get a grip of the culture and understand things like that, you don't go there. Just put it to you. You don't go there. Okay. And so go spend some time giving your energies and your wonder and your awe to these other places that are just so special and beautiful. And if you happen to be lucky enough to be there during the Japanese cherry blossoms and their festivals
in April.
It was just, guys, we didn't know. It was just happenstance, but we can't recommend that enough as well. So
And also when you went to the temple, the 47 Ronin, and I wish to say that you were there at that correct divine timing because of the fact that some junk from that time had to be let go of, going through the incense ceremony and going into the temple where he had formerly walked. That was a past life issue, a very deep set negative one that needed to go. I wish to say that the authorities do know about what's really in the suicide forest. They know what is there. They try to downplay it, but they know it is there. It's part of legend as well in that area. They know people disappear. This has been for centuries. This is not new. It's only been called something different in modern day. They call it the suicide force, but they know there's negative forces and evil forces there. They know this for a fact. It's in their card catalog. Like I say, it's not superstition. Their government knows, their authorities know, the people know, but they see it as more legend and demon, which I suppose they're not too far off there. But they know, some know it's alien as well. So I just wanted to point that out. It's highly well known by those in power there. And they just kind of let it happen because some of them are wanting people to drift in there because it's kind of a fair trade-off. You won't bother me. You won't bother me. I won't bother you. You do what you want. It's kind of like your Star Trek Gorn. It's the same thing outside the Federation. No, take what you want. We won't bother. We don't want a war. That's the cabal mentality. That's what's going on.
And again,
cultist mentality. Yeah.
Well, and unfortunately, that cultist mentality is happening in different places around the world.
All over. It's all over the planet. United States, most of all, because it's a cabalist capital. But there's a shred of it there that is allowing that little yielded area, which is the suicide forest. Eventually, this will not be any longer, but it has been off and on that way since the Lemurian time frame. Just wanted to say that.
Well, good.
15,000 years or so.
Another reason to avoid it so you don't give any energies to it.
Yes. Not trying to end on a negative note, but this is what is going on.
Well, again, allow it, don't go there. Allow it for the energies to rebalance there, to heal instead of.
Don't go there. Do not set foot in there.
Do it. So,
but. You will be eaten. Stay away.
Yeah. So, well, thank you. Anything else before this conversation?
Yes, it was a great joy that we wished to reconnect again. The energies are at a right spot that we can truly do so. So I thank you for allowing me to speak, and always, and I thank you, and goodbye, and blessings. Yeah, he has a gentle energy. He does feel like how you would expect a Japanese person to be. He has that energy. He feels. First, I mistook him for an Untumban, but they've interacted. That tribe's interacted so much with them. They took on their rituals, their personality type, their energy type. I believe they've gone back and forth into that planetary space. I feel at some point. I'm getting a yes to that. So. Yes, we have. We've been to Antama. Yeah, and the dimensional space subsequently in between that leaves there, meaning portal. And the Torii Gate's a portal, by the way. If you didn't know that already. We even saw, and I will do one thing before we leave. We went to a graveyard up by the Torii Gate temple, the big vermilion colored ones. And it was pointed out that there is a graveyard or gravestone where there was like this Torii Gate, a big flat almost like a big tablet picture of a Torii Gate, and the text in between basically says door open. in Japanese over and over and over again, meaning that that's like a computer coder telling a computer, open the portal, I wish to go through. It's like a key. The Lanyalosians use something like that, but more of like this weird pixelated Minesweeper looking computer code. But it's the same premise. A key is telling the portal to open in ancient Babylon and also Garden of Eden. It was said the angel there had a fiery sword that could open the gate to the Garden of Eden. That's the Anunnakian type technology. Odin had the same to the Bifrost with Heimdall, the whole bit. It's the same thing. And we found that in Japan, like, okay, this just confirms the Untumbans had the same tech and had access to the Bifrost. That's what that tells me. So they worked very heavily with the Asgardians, from what I understand, and Cassiopeians, Mosen. That's why they all brought up, because they were working together. Joanna, do you have anything else to add?
No, hope everybody enjoyed this.
All right, and also the worldwide empire. Everybody was working together too. The whole Tartarian concept. So I will leave this here. I now close this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye now.